The naked shame in the market. The sun above the alien market burned hot and merciless. It made the metal floor boil, and the crowd noisy and restless. All around, traders shouted, buyers bargained, and slaves wept. But no one looked at the girl sitting in the corner. She was small, thin, and shaking. Her purple skin was covered in dirt, her silver hair messy and tangled. She had no clothes, only rusted metal cuffs on her hands and ankles. Her eyes, big and glowing faintly, were full of fear and shame. She had been there for days. No one bought her. No one fed her. Some laughed at her. Some even kicked her. But most just walked past her like she was trash. The sign above her read, "Defective, unsellable, take for free if you dare." She didn't even cry anymore. Her body had stopped making tears. Her lips were cracked. Her throat was dry. Her arms covered her chest. She felt cold, even in the heat. Cold in her heart. Then, something changed. The crowd grew quiet for a moment. People looked toward the edge of the market. A human man was walking through the stalls. A human. In this part of the galaxy, humans were rare, strange, powerful, dangerous. Some feared them, some respected them, most didn't understand them. But everyone moved aside as the human walked by. He was tall, wearing a long black coat with calm eyes and a strong face. His boots made no sound. He didn't speak. He just looked, left, right, observing everything. He was not here to buy anyone. He was just passing through until he saw her. His steps stopped. His eyes locked on the girl sitting alone. She noticed him. Her whole body froze. Was he another cruel one? Another who came to laugh? But he didn't laugh. He didn't even blink. Slowly, without saying a word, he walked up to her. People stared. Even the traders were curious now. The girl looked down, ashamed, expecting him to kick her, curse her, or walk away like the others. Instead, he knelt in front of her. He took off his coat and gently wrapped it around her shoulders. Warm, soft, heavy. She looked up at him, shocked. No one had touched her with kindness in years. One of the slave traders shouted from behind the cage. "That one? She's worthless. Defective. You can have her for free, human. But she'll bring you nothing but trouble." The human ignored him. He turned to the girl. "Can you walk?" he asked softly. She couldn't speak. Her lips moved, but no sound came. So he picked her up. His arms were strong, but his touch was gentle. He lifted her like a feather, holding her close to his chest. The crowd stared in silence. The human didn't care. He walked through them like they didn't exist. The girl's heart pounded in her chest. Why was he doing this? Who was he? Her body trembled, but not from fear this time, from something else, something unfamiliar. Hope. As he carried her out of the market, someone shouted again. "Why would a human take her? She's broken." Another alien laughed. "He must be crazy." But the human said nothing. He didn't stop. He didn't look back. She rested her head on his shoulder. Her fingers gripped his shirt weakly. She had no idea where he was taking her. But for the first time in a long, long time, she felt safe. The human walked with slow, steady steps. The girl in his arms felt lighter than she should have. She was all bones, bruises, and silence. The coat he'd wrapped around her was the only thing hiding her shame now. People stared. Traders laughed. Others whispered. But he didn't look at them. His eyes were straight ahead, focused. Suddenly, the slave merchant ran beside him, red-faced and grinning. "Wait, human. You forgot to pay," he shouted mockingly. The human stopped. He turned his head slightly, eyes cold. The merchant chuckled, pointing at the girl. "She's not worth a single credit, broken goods, no one wants her, not even for scraps. But hey, since you seem interested, take her. Free gift." The alien crowd laughed around them. "She's disgusting," one alien woman said. "I wouldn't even let my pet touch her." Another spat. The girl curled deeper into the human's arms. Her body shook, not from cold, but from humiliation. She felt her skin burn with shame. But the human said nothing. He simply stared at the slave merchant. Then, he reached into his coat and pulled out a golden token, a rare earth coin, valuable across many systems. He tossed it at the merchant's feet. "For your silence," the human said calmly. The coin hit the ground with a sharp clink. Everyone stared. The merchant blinked. "Silence," he stammered. The human nodded once. "You've done enough damage with your mouth. Spend the coin wisely. Or choke on it." No one laughed now. The human turned again and walked toward the docking bay. The crowd parted in silence. No more jokes. No more shouting. As they left the market, the girl looked up at him. Her voice was weak, like dry leaves rustling. Why did you pay Suckin for me?" He didn't stop walking, but after a moment he answered. "You weren't free," he said. "You were hurt, humiliated. That deserves payment, even if they don't see it." The girl's eyes welled up, but still no tears came. Her body was too empty for that. She had been thrown away like garbage. Now someone had paid for her, not to own her, but to respect her. She didn't understand it. Not yet. They reached the spaceport. Ships lined the platforms like silver birds waiting to fly. He stepped into a small but clean ship. The lights inside were warm and soft. The doors closed with a quiet hiss, shutting out the noise of the cruel world behind them. He placed her gently on a padded seat. Then he knelt in front of her and removed his gloves. She flinched slightly. Her body expected pain. Instead, he reached into a drawer, pulled out a small medical scanner, and hovered it over her. Her skin showed old scars, new bruises, signs of starvation, cuts, even burns. He didn't ask how she got them. He just said, "This will help," and applied a cool gel on her cracked skin. She gasped softly. It didn't hurt. It soothed. She looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time. He had no markings of a slave trader, no collar, no brand. His ship was small but free. And so was he. "Are you a soldier?" she whispered. He shook his head. "No, I used to be. Not anymore." "What are you now?" He thought for a moment. Then he gave a soft smile. "Maybe someone who helps the broken." She stared at him. Her lips trembled. "I'm broken," she whispered. His smile faded. His voice turned serious. "No, you were broken, past tense. You're still alive. That means you still have power." She said nothing, but deep inside, something small and bright flickered. Not hope, not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. The docking port gates opened with a low hiss, letting in the warm light of the twin suns. The human stood tall, his coat gone, wrapped gently around the girl in his arms. She held it tightly, even though it hung loose and large over her tiny frame. Her bare feet peeked out from beneath the hem, dirty and bruised, but not trembling anymore. For the first time in her life, she was being carried, not as a thing, not as property, but as someone who mattered. Still, she felt thousands of eyes on her. The spaceport was full of aliens from many worlds, rich, powerful, cruel, curious, and all of them turned to watch the human walk by. Whispers followed them like shadows. "Is that the market reject? Why would a human carry her? She should have been left behind to rot. What's he doing? Doesn't he know? She's worthless?" She heard it all. Every word sliced her like a knife. Shame wrapped tighter around her chest than any chain ever did. She lowered her face into his shoulder, hiding from their eyes, hiding from their hate. But the human's grip on her didn't change. Not once. He didn't walk faster or slower. He simply walked like the world wasn't watching. She could feel it, now, how calm he was. As if their words couldn't touch him, as if their judgment meant nothing. She opened her eyes just a little, to study him. His jaw was steady, his eyes forward, his chest strong. His heartbeat under her ear was slow, steady, safe, Something in her chest shifted. She had never felt safe before. Suddenly, someone stepped in their way. A large alien man, tall and armored, blocking the path. His arms were crossed. "She's a market throwaway," the alien growled. "You really plan to let her walk among us? That's disgusting, human." The girl froze. Her hands clutched the coat tighter, but the human didn't flinch. He stood still and looked the alien in the eyes. "She's walking nowhere," the human said quietly. "She's in my arms, and where I go, she goes." The alien scoffed. "You think your little speech will scare me?" The human said nothing. Instead, he pulled something from his belt, a small black coin etched with strange earth markings. The alien's eyes widened instantly. A hush fell. The Terran veteran's mark. Only soldiers from Earth's elite division carried it. It was more than a medal. It was a warning. The human clipped it back and stepped forward. The armored alien didn't move, but the girl felt his fear. And then, slowly, the alien stepped aside. The human walked forward, holding her close. The girl blinked, stunned. No one had ever stood up for her. Not once. As they reached his ship, she found her voice. "I'm sorry," she whispered. He looked down. "For what?" "For causing trouble. For making them hate you." He shook his head. "You didn't cause anything. They did, and I don't care what they think." She looked at him with wide, tearless eyes. "Why?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then he finally said, "Because I remember what it was like to be nothing." His voice was so soft, so full of pain, even though he didn't show it. He tapped a button, and the ship door opened with a warm hum. The girl blinked in the sudden light. Inside, the ship was not grand or fancy, but it was clean, safe, warm. As he stepped inside with her still in his arms, the door closed behind them, locking out the whispers, the shame, and the past. She rested her head on his chest again, and, for the first time, she let herself breathe. The hum of the ship's engine was soft and steady like a slow heartbeat. The girl sat on a cushioned bench, her legs tucked under her. The coat he gave her was still wrapped around her small body, though now it no longer dragged behind her. It felt like a shield. She looked around. The ship was clean, small, but well kept. There were tools and books stacked neatly. A small kitchen. A few seats, one empty bed. She had never seen a place like this. It wasn't rich, but it felt alive. Safe. Warm. She didn't know what to do with that feeling. The human knelt across from her with a small box in his hands. Inside were medical supplies. He moved carefully, as if not to scare her. "I need to check your wounds," he said gently. "But only if you allow me." She stared at him. No one had ever asked her before. Not the slavers, not the guards, not anyone. She slowly gave a small nod. He opened the scanner and moved it over her arms, her shoulders, her back. The light blinked red in many places. Old scars, deep bruises, some bones not fully healed. He didn't flinch or gasp. He simply frowned, and then began treating each wound with soft hands and quiet care. "This gel will stop the pain," he said. It was cool when he applied it. She bit her lip, not because it hurt, but because she wanted to cry again. But no tears came. She had forgotten how. "You were burned here," he said softly, touching a mark on her lower back. She nodded slowly. "I disobeyed," she whispered. "They used hot rods. Said it would teach me." The human's hands paused. For just a second, his jaw clenched, but his voice stayed calm. "They taught nothing," he said. "Pain doesn't teach, it only breaks." She looked at him, really looked at him. His eyes were kind, but behind them she saw something else. Anger. Not at her, not even at himself, but at the ones who hurt people like her. "What's your name?" he asked gently. She hesitated, then lowered her head. "They took it," she whispered. Said I didn't deserve one. The human stayed quiet for a moment. Then, you can choose a new one, he said, or I can give you one. Not to own you, but to remind you that you're someone, she blinked. Can I? He nodded. Of course. She thought for a long moment, then quietly said, Neva. He smiled. That's beautiful. Neva. Her name. For the first time, she had a name that wasn't given in cruelty. She looked around again, more curious now. Is this your home? He nodded. It moves, but yes, it's mine. Why are you alone? He paused again. Then he said, because I walked away from a life I didn't want, fighting, killing. I was good at it. But I hated what it made me. Then why help me? She asked. He leaned back slightly, resting against the wall. Because if I don't help someone when I can, then I'm no better than the people I ran from. She stared at him. That answer made something ache inside her in a strange way. She didn't know if she believed in kindness yet. But she believed him. Suddenly her stomach growled. She blushed and pulled the coat tighter. The human stood and went to the kitchen. He returned with a warm bowl of broth and handed it to her. Neva stared at it like it was treasure. She sipped slowly. It tasted plain, but it was the best thing she'd ever eaten. He watched her silently. When she was done, he took the bowl and gave her a small towel and a real blanket. You can sleep on the bed, he said. I'll rest in the chair. Neva's eyes widened. No. I can sleep on the floor. No, he interrupted softly. Not anymore. You sleep with dignity now. Her lip trembled. As she crawled into the bed, soft and warm, she turned, once more to look at him. Thank you for not hurting me, she whispered. He sat down, dimmed the lights, and answered, I would never hurt you, Neva. And for the first time in her life, she closed her eyes and truly slept. The stars outside the ship shimmered like slow-moving fireflies. The galaxy drifted silently, unaware that deep inside a small human vessel, something precious had started to heal. Neva sat curled on the edge of the bed. She had slept through the night, her first night without chains, without shouting, without pain. She woke to soft light and the faint smell of something warm cooking. The human, whose name she still didn't know, was in the kitchen area, stirring a pot and humming softly to himself. His voice was low, calming. He hadn't touched her. He hadn't watched her sleep. He had simply let her rest. She sat in silence, her fingers wrapped around the blanket like armor. A question filled her heart, heavy and burning. Why me? She wanted to ask it. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. She clenched her jaw. Her throat felt dry again, not from thirst but from fear. Her voice had been silent for so long it felt like it no longer belonged to her. She closed her eyes, took a breath, tried. Again. Why, me? The words were barely more than a whisper, like a breeze slipping through a crack. But the human turned. He didn't act surprised. He didn't smile too much. He just nodded. He walked over, crouched down near her, but not too close. He looked her in the eyes and answered, because I saw someone worth saving. She shook her head slowly. No one ever did, she said. Her voice cracked like a window broken long ago. I'm not them, he said. Neva stared at the floor. I'm not strong. I'm not pretty. I'm not useful. You're alive, he said. That's enough. She blinked hard. Even if I'm broken? His voice softened even more. We all break, Neva. Some just learn how to live with the pieces. A long silence followed. Her lips moved, forming thoughts she had never dared say out loud. I used to be called property, she said. They branded me, traded me, laughed at me. I was made to clean blood and eat leftovers. I forgot how to talk. I forgot how to feel. The human sat down cross-legged on the floor, listening, truly listening. They made me think I was nothing, she whispered. He didn't speak yet. He let her continue. They said I'd die in the market, she added, voice trembling. They weren't wrong, she looked at him. But you ruined that plan. He gave a small, sad smile. I ruin many bad plans. It's a habit. She stared at him a moment longer. Why didn't you walk away? She asked. You could have left me. I could have, he agreed. But I've walked away from too many things. This time I walked toward something. She looked confused. Toward me? He nodded. Yes, you. The ship was silent. Only the slow hum of the engines remained. Neva wrapped the blanket around her tighter. Then slowly she stood. Her legs shook, but they held. She took a step, then another, and stood in front of him. She bowed her head. Thank you, she said. He stood as well, meeting her eyes. You don't have to thank me. I want to, she said, firmer this time. Because no one has ever made me feel human. He smiled softly. You're not human, Neva. You're something else. She blinked, slightly hurt. Then he added, You're better. Because you survived what most couldn't. And you're still standing. Her heart swelled with something unfamiliar. Not fear, not sadness, strength. And from that moment, something changed. Her voice had returned. Her dignity had returned. And for the first time, she was not silent anymore. Neva stood in the middle of the small training bay aboard the ship. The floor was made of smooth alloy with faded markings used for drills. It smelled like metal, oil, and something else, possibility. She wore clean, plain clothes now. No chains, no bruises, just a simple gray tunic and soft boots, a gift from the human. The coat was still nearby. She never let it out of sight. It was her first shield. The human stood a few feet away, holding a wooden staff. Not a weapon, yet. I want to teach you something, he said, tossing the staff to her gently. She caught it awkwardly. I don't know how to fight, she admitted. He smiled faintly. You don't have to yet, you just need to learn how not to lose. That confused her. He took another staff and showed her how to hold it. Her grip was weak, her stance unsure. That's okay, he said. Day one is supposed to feel strange. Why? She asked. Because it means you're doing something new. They began slowly. He showed her how to block, how to step back, how to keep balance. She stumbled many times, fell once, dropped the staff twice. Each time she fell, she expected anger, shouting. But each time the human simply helped her up with calm eyes and one sentence, again. She didn't realize she was sweating until her arms started shaking. Can we stop? She asked. He paused, walked over, and offered her a water. Pouch, of course, he said. But not because you failed, only because you're tired. She took it and drank. The water felt like fire and ice, burning through her weakness and cooling something deeper inside. As she sat down, he joined her on the floor. You learn fast, he said. I fall fast, she replied. He chuckled. That's just learning, in disguise. She looked at the staff. Why are you teaching me? Because you should never feel helpless again. She stared at the wall. I always thought being strong meant hurting others. That's what they made you believe, he said. But real strength is different. How? He held up his hand. Steady. Open. This is strength, he said. Not to strike, but to lift. She looked down at her own hands. Small, calloused, but healing. I don't want to be like them, she whispered. You won't be, he promised. You're already something else. Later that day, he showed her how to fix part of the ship's engine. She watched closely as he explained simple things: power cells, coolant lines, emergency valves. Her fingers moved slowly, but he guided her. You're not just a fighter, he said. You're a thinker, too. She smiled softly. For the first time, someone saw her as more than a body. She was becoming something more. 1 week later, Neva spun the staff in her hand and blocked his strike. Clumsy but effective. He raised an eyebrow. Very nice. I'm still slow, she said, panting. Maybe, but you're stronger than yesterday. Her grip tightened. Her heart beat louder, not with fear, but with focus. She was changing, not into a warrior like the ones who hurt her, but into someone who would never be hurt that way again. After the session, she sat by the window watching the stars pass. He brought her a small cup of soup. She accepted it, her voice soft. I don't know what I am becoming, she said. You're becoming you, he replied. Is that good? He smiled, gentle and proud. It's the best thing I've seen in a long time. Her chest tightened, because for the first time in her life, she was proud of herself. The ship landed near the edge of the market where it all began. Dust swirled. The sun was harsh, but this time the girl walking down the ramp was not the same one who had once been thrown in the dirt and forgotten. Neva stood tall. Her back was straight, her step steady, her eyes sharp. She wore fitted clothes now, simple but strong, a short cloak over her shoulders. Her staff was strapped to her back and a small tool belt hugged her waist. The coat, the one the human gave her that day, was folded and tied carefully across her side, like a flag of memory. The human walked beside her, silent but watchful. Are you sure about this? He asked. She nodded once. Yes. I need to see it. I need them to see me. The slave market hadn't changed much. Still loud, still cruel, still full of cages and shouting traders. But something did change the moment. Neva walked in. People noticed her, not as prey, but as a presence. She passed the same corner where she once sat. Naked and cold, a new girl was there now. Young, bruised, alone. Neva stopped. She pulled her cloak off and wrapped it gently around the girl's shoulders. The trader in charge saw it and stepped forward, angry. Hey, what do you think you're? He froze. His eyes scanned her face. Recognition hit him like lightning. You're the worthless one, the broken one we couldn't sell. Neva looked him dead in the eyes. No, she said calmly. I'm the one you threw away. Her voice was firm, clear, like steel. And you should be afraid of what I became. The trader's smirk vanished. He looked toward the human for help, but the human only stood silently, arms crossed. The trader hissed, You think you're special now? Neva stepped closer. I am special. Not because I'm strong, not because I can fight, but because I survived what was meant to destroy me. Around them, people were watching now. Slaves, buyers, even guards. Someone whispered, Is that her? The one from last cycle? She's alive. She's more than alive. The trader's face turned red with rage. You don't belong here. Neva didn't flinch. No, she said. You don't. Then she turned and walked away, leaving the man speechless. The human followed her, saying nothing, only offering her the quiet respect she had earned. Back on the ship, Neva stood by the window as the engines warmed up. She looked out at the market one last time. I didn't come here for revenge, she said. I know, the human replied. I came here to show them I'm not ashamed anymore. He nodded. You did more than that, Neva. You showed them that even the most unwanted can rise. She looked at him, her voice soft. What do we do now? He smiled faintly. Now we go wherever you want. You've taken your first steps. The rest of the path belongs to you. She turned toward the stars. For the first time in her life, her future was hers, not given, Not forced, not stolen, hers. And as the ship lifted into the sky, the galaxy ahead of her didn't look frightening anymore. It looked wide, open, ready.